Wow, look at this! A new Call of Duty game? And it's not set in the year 5 million AD? No man, COD is returning to its roots, with boots on the ground combat, ditching all that futuristic crap that's been done to death. Man, with all the great COD games based in World War II and the advancements in technology since the last one, this'll probably be the best World War II game in years. I'm excited as can be, so let's check it out. Oh god, this is awesome! Though I didn't realize it was going to be about squirrels. That's kind of weird. Oh wait, wrong game. Hold up. There we go. Alright, let's check this out. Oh my god! What have they done? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is that? Oh, Jesus!
No! That wasn't meant to happen!
Ugh. So why is Call of Duty World War II so bad, you might ask? Well, where do I even begin? Well, let's just jump straight into the multiplayer and work our way up shit creek, shall we? But before we can actually do that, let's talk about how to access the multiplayer, because for some reason, COD World War II copies Destiny's social space idea, probably so there's an excuse for players to watch others open supply drops, but also to unintuitively fuck with the multiplayer. Alright, so for every COD game, you'd be at the main menu, click multiplayer, it'd take 5 to 10 seconds to load, bada bing bada boom, there you go, you're ready to play. Now, first it has to check your Xbox Live connection, then it has to fetch your online profile. On some occasions this can take a minute or two. Then sometimes you get placed into a wait queue. After that, the game needs to read your save device. Then you get another loading screen, which sometimes lasts upwards of 2 minutes, and finally, you arrive at the social space where you can search for a match, as well as access a bunch of crap that could have just been in the menus already. This is absurd. They have you jump through all these hoops because the game has to locate and put you into this headquarters station with other players in order to access the matchmaking. To be fair, there's some cool and fun stuff you can do in the headquarters, like play old Atari games, test out the kill streaks, and even play some quick 1v1 matches. I'd be fine with this headquarters if you could choose to bypass it to get a faster matchmaking experience. Now, since I initially recorded this video, the headquarters was thankfully fixed, and you're no longer required to go to it to access matchmaking. So I have to ask, why didn't you just do that in the first place? Enough beating around the bush, let's move on to the real deal. The real shit. It's back to basics with COD World War II, and if I could summarize this game's multiplayer, I'd say
That's pitiful. I mean, it's absolutely pitiful.
customization, loadouts, one of the biggest strengths the series possesses, has been dumbed down to an extreme. There's fewer weapons to choose from than even World at War offered. Only 3 secondaries and 2 rocket launchers. You'd think being the greatest and largest war of mankind that it'd be quite feasible to add in plenty of unique weapons we haven't seen before, but no. The game recycles 17 of the weapons from World at War out of 32 choices. That's over half the selection. They're both World War II games, so naturally they'll have the more iconic weapons. This is only a problem because COD World War II has less weapon variety than World at War. It doesn't even make sense to include Russian or Japanese weapons in campaign or multiplayer because those factions are completely absent. So they also dumbed down the perks, and you just get 1 to choose per class. I mean, you also get division perks, but you don't really have a choice. This is wrong on so many levels. See, the reason why we all spent hours constantly tweaking and changing our classes to achieve perfection is because there were plenty of choices. You wanted to find a great synergy between weapons, ammo, lethal and tactical grenades, perks and kill streaks. You know, if you took perks that gave advantages in firefights, you might run out of ammo quicker. Or if you wanted to be a more stealth-oriented class, you could sacrifice combat potential to be harder to pinpoint. Or you could give up your lethal grenade for more flashbangs, whatever. There's so much to experiment with in past games, you could always try something new. There's no synergy here. Chances are you'll spend about 5 minutes setting up your class and only change them when you want to use a new gun. Customization just feels so lackluster. God, and now you only get to choose between 1 lethal or 1 tactical grenade? Why? Why is the game actively giving us fewer sandbox elements to use, fewer options? Yeah, later Call of Duty's overcomplicated the customization in this area, but I honestly prefer freedom of choice to this streamlined crap. Another problem is the kill streaks. Now you might be thinking, how could a Call of Duty game fuck up the kill streaks?
Enemy nuked incoming!
Well, by making it absurdly difficult to get them. I'm glad the emergency airdrop made a return. All the kill streaks are actually fun and unique to use, but the costs are too high for certain game modes. 5 kills for a recon plane? Isn't that a bit extreme? Especially in domination. Sometimes you can play an entire game where the only thing a player gets is a recon plane. I mean, talk about boring. The lowest streak you need is 3 to 4 kills for a Molotov, and even then you only get 25 points for getting a kill with it. Another part of COD's famous formula thrown to the wayside, as normal matches mostly consist of gunfights, with kill streaks being a somewhat rare occurrence. Although the gunplay in this game is pretty good, it feels satisfying to shoot people just as it always has. But gamers should expect that from a COD game, so it's not saying a whole lot. Sound effects are spot on, and balancing is much more balanced. SMGs don't dominate quite like they used to, and each gun feels useful. Maybe Sledgehammer Games heard people's complaints about Infinite Warfare and thought, oh, our fan base wants a watered-down, recycled, poor man's version of World at War, so let's give them that. Well, no, that's not what we wanted. We wanted the classic feeling of boots-on-the-ground Call of Duty set in World War II with all the things that made the multiplayer great in the first place. Oh, here's another thing, supply drops. Oh yeah, those things. You'll notice that supply drops are littered all over this game's user interface. There's always an icon in the bottom right. You get supply drops for doing orders, contracts. At the end of games, it shows you everyone who got a supply drop. They're starting to force them into other parts of the game, zombie packs. Then you open them in front of everybody on the beaches of Normandy. There's even a challenge for watching people open loot boxes. You got that patent that was leaked. I mean, Activision is pushing the envelope on these damn things so fucking tough. It's irritating. I feel gross for buying this game. I feel dirty. Someone spray me down or something. What do you actually get in the supply drops? Well, in short, a bunch of stupid, pointless shit. What else is new? Grass is green and Activision likes money? You don't say. You get emotes so retarded they're actually funny, skins, and nothing special. But let me just open some to show you. Alright, so this is a regular supply drop. Let's see what we got. Calling card, grip. Alright, so that's pretty shitty. Alright, let's open another one. Grip, calling card bonus. Man, another grip? Hey, that one's no different from the last one. Alright, here's another one. Let's see what kind of stupid man, another grip? 2 of them? Wait, what's the difference? One grip's epic, one's common? They look exactly the same. Alright, let's try this zombie pack. It should be pretty cool. Different stuff. Let's see. Christ, another grip! You gotta be shitting me! Alright, here's a rare supply drop. XP boost. Fucking grips again! Are you serious? My fucking god, 3 grips that all look the same. They're 3 different rarities. What's the difference? I guess I'll watch my buddy open some of these. Well, it looks like he got 2 grips. One of them called Strong Woman. Again, they all look exactly the same. Alright, he's opening another one. God, another fucking grip? He got a duplicate. That's the grip he just got. Are you shitting me? Yeah, so as you can see, it's the worst thing in the world. The best part about this is they've created a customization option that you can't even fucking look at because your dude is gonna be holding the gun all the time. Oh yeah, and having maybe unlocked 1% of all the crap in the supply drops, we're already getting duplicates. Fan-fucking-tastic. Just imagine, it's your job to think of what to put in these loot boxes. You've done this 5 or 6 times already, and you probably want to blow your brains out, and you're doing this for a series that has milked the idea well completely dry. Now imagine being so lazy and uninspired you can't actually think of new content, so you just recycle emotes with different text and call it something new. I'm not kidding. This wave emote is reused 8 times. The shoulder dusting emote is reused 5 times, and the one where he shakes his head is reused 5 times as well. Let's take a step back for 1 second. You can literally unlock the same emote 5+ times and still get duplicates of a recycled emote. What the fuck? Basically, the supply drops in this game are about as satisfying to open as it would be to, say, take a pile of shit that's been pissed on, put that into a nice Ziploc bag, throw it into your refrigerator for about a week, and then if you were to open that and just take a big whiff of that piss-covered shit, that's exactly how you would feel opening these supply drops. Aside from that shit, the game is pretty damn buggy. It's not quite Battlefield 4 or MCC, but it's still terrible. In fact, they even had to turn off the social space because that was causing too many problems. I played a 50-minute zombies game and it didn't keep track of the game or my progress. I ran into this asshole called Matched Player. Gee, what a dumb gamer tag. UI is just a nightmare to navigate. I mean, look at the main menu. It looks generic, simple, and uninspired, but when you get deeper, you find there's so many sub-menus, it's convoluted and unnecessary, you don't know where to find your shit. When you unlock stuff, it doesn't tell you what weapon it's for, so you just gotta take a shitty guess. All those grips I mentioned are a part of different weapons, but again, it doesn't tell you what weapon they're for. Even in this Collections tab, you can't equip any of this stuff. How is this even organized? Why are there categories for weapons, but when you click on them it shows you calling cards, emotes, and outfits? Oh hey, here's a good idea. Why don't you make categories for calling cards, emotes, and outfits? Every load screen is punctuated by an obnoxious logo, which will sometimes fade to black then reappear slightly larger with another load screen. The game can hardly manage to load your different division classes. I mean, at the end of each game, the scoreboard is just a still frame that then loads the post-game lobby where you can see people do stupid emotes and get loot boxes. It might look nice, but priority goes to usability and convenience. People are gonna think I'm nitpicking about all this stuff, but when you make a good user interface, people won't be sure you've done anything at all. But when you do fuck it up, it's very noticeable and irritating. But all this trash I've been putting on the table pales in comparison when it comes to the actual gameplay, especially the map design. Despite the number of COD games we've had over the years, I've always felt a strong suit of the series was in its creative map design and selection. With so many shining examples, you'd expect COD World War II to take some inspiration and notes, right? Wrong! The maps are pure garbage. I'm truly stunned. It seems not a thought or ounce of creativity went into them. Sid Meier once said, "A game is a series of interesting choices." However, the people that designed COD World War II have obviously never heard of this. First off, so you've got 9 base maps and 3 for the war mode, which is pretty shitty. However, 7 of those 9 maps are flat, small, 3-lane maps that offer nothing unique or different from one another. Gustav Cannon is the only good one because it actually feels open. It's like they tried to make something different. These maps are boring and generic, the type that are supposed to be a one-off filler. Like, oh yeah, this is alright, I don't mind playing it. There's hardly any high ground or low ground, and don't offer heights above the second story. Power positions, hidden areas are non-existent, environmental conditions are nowhere to be found, no explosive barrels, no gates to open, or rockets taking off in the background. Every map is surrounded by invisible barriers, so there's no risk of falling off the edge. They have no interaction aside from turrets placed in the most inconvenient locations. However, it gets worse. Any cover, barrels, or whatnot are surrounded by invisible barriers. Why is it the newer COD games especially are so reliant on these invisible walls to create their maps? In fact, the reason I like USS Texas is because you can actually jump on stuff. It's the one level that isn't plagued by invisible fucking barriers on every piece of cover, and it has some modicum of height advantage. You might also notice there's no large maps and only one medium-sized. That's because Ground War was replaced with War. Sounds like a familiar move to create a new, inferior, big team battle mode that replaces the old one. You know, where have I seen or heard that before? Just when you thought the maps couldn't get any more shit. They offer so few options for movement and gameplay that they've already become tired. Here's your typical choice. Go left, go middle, or go right. And there's little deviation from this formula. Go left, go middle, go right. Go left, go middle, go right. Go left, middle, right. Left, middle, right. Left, middle, right. Left, middle, right. God fucking damn it, do something creative! But to showcase and prove that Call of Duty was actually good at one point in time, let's look at the last World War II game, World at War. Alright, so we got this map Airfield, and already you can probably see there's a huge difference. Mainly in the amount of ways I can move around, right? I mean, just look at how expansive it is. That isn't part of the background or anything. You can run along all those open paths. And just check this out. Holy shit, you can jump on that truck. What a fucking revolution this game is. Wow, you can jump on this stuff? No way. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's an explosive barrel. Oh, check that out. There's some cars right there. Oh, I'm gonna fuck that up with a cocktail. Yeah, I mean, look at that. You got stuff that explodes on the map. That's unique. It's interesting. It's a dynamic. I mean, look at how open this map is. Just imagine all the different gameplay variety that can be had here. Well, let's look at another one. We got this map Castle. Now, already, it's got a pretty defined style of being set in a Japanese castle. Again, look at the design. This is a small, medium-sized map, but look at how much room there is to move, how much there is to navigate. It's not just a set few paths that you have to go down. I could hide behind that wall there. I could hide behind here. You know, I can run around to the back. I can, you know, set up shop in the middle or move around to the right to flank. I mean, there's so much more to do in these maps. They're so much better and dynamic. Oh, look at this. Look at this, I've got a height advantage. Man, if I had a bazooka and a sniper up here, this would be a pretty good power position to play from. Oh, look, there's even another tower over there, which someone could use to snipe at me. And I got a great cover view of this area down here, meaning this position is probably very sought after. Alright, one final example, CeeLo. Wow. Wow, this is huge. And doesn't it say something when just a normal map from a previous Call of Duty game is even bigger than the war modes? Like, where's all the kill barriers? Where's all the walls you can't get past? They're not in this fucking game because it didn't need it, because the developers knew what they were doing when they made the game. Big team battle would just be so fucking awesome on these maps. Look, you got that big underpass right in the middle. You can go up on the train tracks. It's interesting. Then you got these rice fields that you could hide in, theoretically. I mean, you get what I'm saying. The maps are inspired. They have a certain style about them, a feel, freedom of choice, a tank there. You can get in that tank. My point is, no matter the size, most of the previous Call of Duty installments always managed to make the maps feel open, like you had options, or offer some gimmick that made them just a bit more unique. World War II doesn't offer anything special in this regard, except in the war mode, which has better level design than shit, but not by much. It's still 3-lane garbage with very few options to deviate. Now take a moment and look at operations in Battlefield 1, which is pretty much what the war mode is based off of. The maps are huge, sprawling canvases with 64 players fighting across battle lines, pushing back and forth for control in airplanes, vehicles, tanks, trucks, everything. There's a distinct level of freedom. The angles from which you can attack or defend are countless. Sure, it has kill barriers, but they're there to balance the game without forcing invisible walls everywhere and restricting it. Now, back to Call of Duty. You're in a heavily confined area where once again, you're forced to go down one of 3 paths for 20 minutes, and that's the entire mode. This is supposed to be all-out war. However, it feels exactly like a normal COD match, except with progressive objectives and no kill streaks. You can get into a tank, storm the beaches of Normandy with AI soldiers that die for no reason. You can destroy and repair walls, but aside from that, the mode is plagued by the same problem. Lack of options, feels too tight and enclosed with ridiculous fucking kill barriers and invisible walls. Oh shit, I gotta retreat. Don't worry, I got 20 seconds, I can make it.
12 seconds later.
Fuck that, I just blew up for no reason! And it's such a shame, because this war mode could be so freaking awesome. It could be the best part of the game. But they applied the same terrible philosophies from their base maps into here, instead of trying to innovate and really expand and say, you know what, fuck the boundaries, fuck the kill barriers, let's just make something huge and unique, something that Call of Duty's never seen before. Let's just do that, let's go balls to the walls. But they didn't. It doesn't matter if a game has the most perfect, refined mechanics ever made. If you've got shit maps, you've got shit gameplay. In short, the maps suck. Now you might be thinking, well, the rest of the game is pretty bad and dumbed down, but zombies, man. Zombies is always good. Oh, except it's not. Oh sure, it's got a cool opening cinematic, but that's about it. This is a classic case of simplicity versus complexity. In fact, Zombies has more customization than the actual multiplayer. And that's not a good thing. It's convoluted for this type of gameplay. You got 3 perks, weapons to choose from, you got loadouts, you can customize your weapons that you might get. In addition to the perks you can buy in-game, there's attachments you can equip. You got these ultimate Overwatch abilities for some reason. I mean, what happened to just starting the game and playing it, seeing how long you could survive? Why bother with all this crap? On top of this, the whole style and charm of Nazi Zombies is completely gone. Now look, I know it's made by Sledgehammer Games, but seriously, it again feels generic. You can't repair walls, and what happened to the mystery box? Why does it look like shit? Doesn't have that nice jingle to it either, or the creepy little kid sound effects.
It's tear 'em up time, sweet.
When waves start, there's no longer that cool music that makes it kinda terrified. And just look at the difference between what happens when you grab a power-up in COD World War II versus Black Ops.
Double points!
This game doesn't even have an announcer, so most of the time I didn't even notice we were getting power-ups because nobody was saying anything. And another thing, when the mystery box disappears, there's no audio cue, so you don't know unless you're talking to your buddies. What happened? The characters you play as don't have any funny or memorable lines except for constantly fucking grunting all the time. Part of what made Zombies great was they featured exaggerated stereotypes that would make you laugh in between gameplay.
You're a walking fucking cliche, Takio.
Like a Russian communist who, when he doesn't have enough points to buy something, remarks,
Why do we not share the points?
or a German Nazi who really fucking enjoys killing zombies.
Yes! Yes, explode!
Your classic American tough guy swears a bunch.
There's just something so beautiful about blowing shit up.
And then the incredibly honorable Japanese samurai.
My weapon is low on honor. I will soon need ammunition.
I mean, it's great. I love these characters. I don't give 2 fucks about these nameless nobodies. Might as well just have them be the nameless soldiers in Nach der Untoten, because at least that way we don't expect them to have character. And then when you hit level 5, there's another layer of customization, Raven research, like who needed or asked for all this shit to be put into zombies? Who wanted this? And if there is a sizable portion of people that enjoy this type of gameplay, why not make 2 maps and offer both styles of gameplay so that you please everyone? I'm not saying the game needs to be exactly like the other zombie modes, but if they're going to get rid of all the style, charisma, and charm, you gotta replace that with something, and they didn't. The whole point of Nazi Zombies is to be a survival game where you carefully considered what doors to open, weapons to buy, when, but now the game gives every player a wonder waffle just for progressing through the level. Look at this. Am I supposed to feel threatened? Is this supposed to be difficult? Why should I feel threatened when I got the best gun in the game for free and an infinite ammo power-up that has such a short cooldown? And when you get down, instead of being severely punished like you should be in a survival game, nah, you get revived in time, you get all your shit back. There's even zombie packs that give you one-time power-ups like nukes, max ammo, and even something that automatically revives you. I mean, what the fuck is all of this? The map is a convoluted mess, as well as having almost no areas that you can hold out in. You're pretty much forced to play run and gun style. It's just an unnecessarily complicated version of zombies with no soul. But if you like that sort of thing, maybe you'll enjoy it. Me, I think it's trash. Surprisingly, I think the best part about COD World War II is the campaign. This is where I had the most enjoyment. Unfortunately, there's still so many problems. Beyond this point, there will be spoilers, so skip ahead to the time on screen if you don't want to hear them. The intro boldly states, 60 million people died. But we aren't going to show you the perspectives where 80% of those losses took place. It also tries to mimic the intros for the older Call of Duty games with this sort of retro visual style, but this style is never seen throughout the rest of the campaign, so it seems out of place. Now for a second, let's again go back to World at War. Right from the start, the player understands the style of the game as gritty, dark, and creepy. The music at the main menu sets up the atmosphere for the rest of the game. It's unsettling, has the feeling of terror. It carries a sense of trauma, loss, and a bleak future. So when you boot up COD World War II, what sorts of impressions do you get from it? To me, it's just generic. Now, in the campaign, the story has a more brothers in arms sort of feel, which I do like, and also harkens back to the title of the series.
Lieutenant, tell them what we're all about.
No mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great. Duty first.
I can't hear you.
No mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great. Duty first.
That's right. Now get ready to move out.
You know, duty first, which I thought was a nice touch. I think the issue I'm having is COD World War II's entire style feels generic. It's too upbeat and doesn't commit to a visceral World War II experience. There's not much focus on the horrors of war aspect until the very end of the campaign, and even when you're in the concentration camp, you don't see any terrifying obscenities depicted in some of those old photographs. Not every piece of media needs to go for the same type of thing, but when you're telling a realistic World War II story, you really should commit to portraying what it was like. The story has some nice characters, dialogue, the cinematics are impressive as fuck. I felt a decent connection with the other soldiers and a much stronger connection with my protagonist Daniels. The story follows his perspective as he wage war against the German army. Starting with D-Day, Daniels periodically writes letters to his older brother about the things he's going through. There's some cool flashbacks, and I felt like Daniels was a great protagonist. Probably the best part was near the end, your buddy gets captured, and Daniels gets an honorable discharge, so he's free to go home. It shows a cutscene of him returning home to his woman, who's pregnant, of course, war cliche, and you think the game's gonna end on that note.
You all right there, Red?
We gonna talk or we gonna hunt?
You should be proud. You ruled your fear, you held your own. Nothing more you can ask of a man. It's the best feeling in the world, ain't it? Facing down hell and coming home a bona fide hero.
But nope, Daniel cuts off his vision because he can't go home without saving his buddy Zussman.
To the end?
To the end.
That was a nice twist. The end of the game has a really touching moment and a nice motif with symbolism, which I didn't see coming and quite enjoyed a lot. It's a quality, somewhat generic war story, but the best part was the way the characters interacted with each other throughout the gameplay and the cutscenes. There's charm and a few laughs here and there. These soldiers try to lighten the mood of a desperate situation, and I'll just play some of those moments for you.
See the address? She wrote Daniels, not Red. Only one reason to be so formal. Hate to say it, I think she's cutting you loose. Or hey, maybe it's like Schrodinger's letter. You know, you don't open it, she's still your girl. Hell of a Christmas, eh, fellas?
Oh yeah. Why would I want to be cuddled up by a nice warm fire with my gal? When I could be freezing my ass off with you bastards.
Got some ammo, fellas.
Key here. It's a regular old St. Nick.
Throw it under our tree.
Now, it does kind of rub me the wrong way, what with the social justice warrior, political correctness aspects surrounding this game, that we see a British female fighting on the front lines and she doesn't do anything else. It has no purpose in the narrative aside from, you know, being a woman. Then there's a French woman who gives some forced exposition about how her family was killed, and it's totally out of the blue.
The garrison is run by SS and Polizeiführer Heinrich. And he couldn't find me. Came for my parents. And my husband. And finally, my son.
She, on the other hand, is a French resistance fighter, so she makes sense. Next, there's a black mechanic who's the only black guy in the game, and it seems he was included so we could have a scene like this, where all the white guys are like, "What? A black guy?"
I can't believe they let him fight.
Oh, yeah. They even let us die.
Then after the day is won, this happens.
I believe I owe you an apology.
You owe me a hell of a lot more than that.
Now, don't twist this into some "I hate women and blacks" bullshit. Diversity is great when it's utilized properly. But the mechanic Howard is introduced in the 9th mission, and they don't do much with his character except use him as a vessel to make the statement, "Black people are equal and can fight." This game had a great opportunity to do something profound and thought-provoking, but it seems the writers just settled for a cheap gimmick. Like they were trying to please people who wouldn't play the games anyway, who would only care if they heard, "Yeah, there's a black guy in here. Hey, here's a not-so-shitty idea. What if you introduced Howard and perhaps another battalion of black soldiers, and then have Daniels and his squad still remain skeptical? Then perhaps you have a few cutscenes where the race relations are boiling up, heated arguments, maybe a couple fist fights, insults, but the higher-ups stop it and get everyone back in order. Then through fighting, dying, and bleeding together, both sides learn to respect and accept the others as brothers."
I was afraid of you, Julius. I only saw what I was afraid of. And now I know I was only hating my brother.
I think the reason this wasn't fleshed out is because Sledgehammer Games was too afraid to take risks, to show the ugly side of war, to actually portray racism or hatred or vile, despicable acts. They played it too safe, and as a result, many of the plot points and characters don't resonate with the audience as strongly as other war stories. I think a greater point with all this is Sledgehammer just got spooked by all this modern outrage towards Nazis and, racism is such a bad word nowadays. Everything can be racist. We don't want to appear racist. And so they decided to suppress all the offensive imagery. I said suppress, not remove entirely. In an effort to please the social justice warriors or whoever, COD World War II lost artistic vision by censoring the history it's based on. Damn shame too. Howard was pretty cool for the 1 minute of screen time he had. If only the writers had balls. There's a touching section where you rescue German civilians. I thought this was pretty special and a nice change of pace because a lot of World War II media tends to portray the Axis powers as entirely evil entities. But people forget those nations had civilians too, people caught in the crossfire, so it's good they brought a little light to that aspect. Unfortunately, this is a story entirely about the American versus German side of the war, with small snippets of the French and British. It allows the game to flesh out your soldiers and focus entirely on one conflict and setting, but I would have liked to see other perspectives. This game has some great action as well. The only stipulation with this is the story feels like the newer modern games with its heavy emphasis on blockbuster, movie-like action-y cinematics. QuickTime events are back and quite honestly ruin the pacing of sections that would otherwise make for great cutscenes. They work in Resident Evil 4 because they're incorporated into the gameplay itself. However, when the QTEs pop up here, it slows down the intensity and action when it doesn't need to. The main issue with the campaign is its gameplay. Of course, it's your classic COD formula of shooting bad guys with stealth, turret, and plane sections to switch it up. And there's even a mission where you play as a French spy and infiltrate a Nazi office. This was the most unique mission the game had to offer, and even though it's short and straightforward, I appreciate the innovation. Something different from the constant shooting. Now, the last COD I beat was Black Ops 1, so I could be wrong about the more recent games, but the levels are so linear it hurts. First mission after you storm the beaches is basically one long path you can't stray from. So out of curiosity, I pulled out some older games to refresh my memory and see if they have always been this linear. Funny enough, even Finest Hour and Big Red 1 gave you more freedom to move around in the first mission than this latest entry. The linear missions in World War II are plagued by, you guessed it, invisible barriers and walls, which again is a symptomatic problem the entire game faces. Now, it does have some cool new mechanics with your squad being able to give you power-ups, ammo, health, which is a nice touch and makes the moment-to-moment gameplay more interesting. They also brought back health packs, which I thought was awesome because now the decisions you make are much more impactful, as well as returning to the roots of the original Call of Duties and straying from the regenerating health we've seen for the last 12 years. Some later missions do open up just a bit, but not by much. So this game also has a tank section. You're in a very enclosed, tight space with little room to maneuver, which kinda defeats the purpose of being in a tank when you can hardly move around. But again, back to World at War. Same era, same series, but look at this. Wow, I've got so much room to move about. There's enemies way off in the distance I can shoot at. I'm not restricted to a single path. It feels like real tank warfare. Another example, compare the first missions of both of these games. World at War, you're a POW in a Japanese camp. Some shit goes down, you start the level, and what's this? Different paths I can choose? The enemies are spread out and I've got multiple routes and options to get through these encounters? My point is to highlight the way Call of Duty games have changed their design for the worse. How what they've done in the past really could have helped them out here. They were still linear, but always offered player freedom. COD World War II's campaign is decent, dumb fun, but won't warrant a second playthrough. To summarize, this game is a return to boots on the ground, but it's plagued by annoying technical problems, the most aggressive microtransaction system to date, piss-poor map design, lackluster customization, an overcomplicated, stupidly easy zombies mode, and a bunch of other shit. While it does have a half-decent campaign, that doesn't give it much replay value, and that's not why people buy into the series. I'm just thoroughly unimpressed with this newest game. It's gotten so boring so quickly that I've already hopped back to Battlefield 1. You know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I've just been playing Call of Duty for so long that it's just run its course for me. Perhaps the formula just doesn't have the same appeal it used to. Perhaps all the innovations and new ideas that could change Call of Duty are just things that they're not gonna try. All good things pass in time, and maybe this once great series has simply lost its luster. But what do you think? What was your favorite or least favorite part of Call of Duty World War II? Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the Act Man for more awesome content. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Act Man signing out. Peace!